A little while ago, TurboAnt asked me if I wanted to review their new X7 Max scooter. I haven't used an electric scooter in quite a while, but I do remember my last experience being a lot of fun. So after doing a bit of research, I accepted their invitation. Now, I decline a significant number of requests and selectively opt to review products that piqued my interest while holding potential appeal for my viewers. I work very hard to provide honest and fair product evaluations, which I hope helps you guys make more informed gear decisions. So with that, let's dive into the details. The scooter itself comes well packaged in a large cardboard box, weighing in at almost 40 pounds, which does make it a bit unwieldy. The easiest way to get it out of the box is to lay it flat, open either of the long ends, and just slide it out. Once you have the scooter out of the box and the additional packing materials removed, setup is very quick and easy. Detach the stem from the rear mudguard by sliding it out, raise it up into position, and snap down the locking mechanism. From there, just attach the brake lever, tighten it down with a supplied hex wrench, screw in the hand grips, and you're pretty much good to go. Now, before heading out for a ride, it's recommended to fully charge the battery using the included charger. Depending on its initial state, it may take up to 6 hours to get a full charge. The tire pressure should also be checked and inflated as necessary, with optimal pressure being between 34 and 36 psi. Now, as far as specifications go, the TurboAnt X7 Max has a lot to offer. It comes with a removable 36 volt 10 amp hour battery, providing 360 watt hours of power. The battery can be charged while attached to the scooter or detached and charged separately. An included key is required to unlock and remove the battery, which is a good safety feature. Battery swaps are quick and easy, and additional batteries are available directly from TurboAnt if you want to extend your runtime. The battery weighs about 6 pounds, so it wouldn't be too much of a burden to bring along as a spare for those extended trips. The battery is coupled to a 350 watt brushless motor, which is located in the front wheel. The scooter is capable of a top speed of 32 kilometers per hour. TurboAnt lists the range of the scooter as between 32 and 51 kilometers, but that of course will depend on the rider's weight, speed, terrain, and other factors. I did a real-world range test, which I will get to in a little bit. The scooter itself weighs about 34 pounds and has a 275 pound load capacity. TurboAnt also states it can handle hill grades up to 15 degrees, which is about a 27% slope. The X7 Max rides on 10-inch pneumatic tires, which do have an inner tube. The large air-filled tires definitely provide a smooth riding experience, but I do wonder about the potential of flats. On their website, TurboAnt recommends contacting support or visiting your local bike shop for a tire or tube replacement, so I suspect it's not a simple process. They do sell spare tubes and tires on their website in case you need either. The dual brake system is made up of an electronic brake in the front and a mechanical disc brake in the rear. One thing to note with this scooter is that it does not have regenerative braking, as do some other brands. So when you brake, none of that energy is being captured and returned to the battery. The scooter has a 3 watt fixed position headlight and a 1 watt taillight. Activating the headlight will also illuminate the taillight, and regardless of the headlight's state, the brake light will flash when braking. The headlight seems sufficiently bright, however, I think its function is more about maintaining visibility in low light than completely illuminating your path in the dark. The scooter's LED screen is quite large, but only about half of its size is used to display ride data such as speed, battery level, mode, and headlight status. I found the screen a little difficult to read in very bright conditions, but it is decent overall. The LED screen can also display a simple menu system whereby some scooter settings can be changed. The menu is revealed by pressing and holding both the function and power buttons simultaneously for 5 seconds. Oddly enough, this information is not found in the user manual. I had to dig it up on TurboAnt's website as I wanted to switch the display from miles per hour to kilometers. One other specification of note is that the X7 Max has an ingress protection rating of IPX4, which means it's not waterproof, but it can handle some minor splashes. In the safety guidelines section of the user manual, however, TurboAnt recommends not riding the scooter in wet conditions, so do keep that in mind if you live in a wetter climate. As far as experience goes, I'm just gonna come right out and say it. Electric scooters are an absolute blast to ride. I've been riding the X7 Max for about 2 months before doing this review. My wife has ridden it, as have plenty of adults and kids in my neighborhood. Everyone who rode the scooter all had one thing in common. They all came back with a big smile on their face and just totally loved it. Now, fun is one thing, but an electric scooter is also a relatively inexpensive, efficient form of transportation. It can be used in your daily commute for that first or last mile. It can be used to get groceries, go to the gym, visit friends, or just get outside and enjoy the ride. One of the first things I did with the X7 Max was to test its practical range. I did that by continuously looping around my neighborhood until I exhausted a fully charged battery. One lap around my neighborhood is almost 2 kilometers. It's mostly flat, but there is a short hill with a 10% grade and a longer, more gentle slope with a 5% grade. I know the exact slope of the hills because I actually went out and measured them. Now, the hills are either up or down depending on the direction of travel, so when the battery was about 50% depleted, I switched direction. I also added in a bit of off-roading on a grass-covered field and one torture test up a long, steep hill with a 10% grade. I think I'm going to call that done. It's really struggling to get above 10 kilometers an hour, so yeah, I think that's pretty much a depleted battery. And what are we at here? We're at 75 minutes. That includes stop time. And we did eke out 20 kilometers. So I really don't think that's too bad. So yeah, I was able to get 75 minutes of elapsed time and 20 kilometers of range out of a fully charged battery. Considering I was mostly full throttle the entire time, there were some hills and a bit of off-roading, the range I felt was very respectable. Of course though, as the saying goes, your mileage will vary. A lighter rider, flatter terrain, and slower speed are all going to result in better range. For me personally though, 20 kilometers felt like good mileage on what I consider to be a very realistic real-world test. There was, however, one big disappointment. So this is the hill I have to deal with, and I came into it at about 32 kilometers an hour. And I'm already down to 20 kilometers an hour. Whoa, 16, 14. Now I'm going this way. So 11 kilometers an hour, 12, 13. So now the X7 is supposed to accommodate slopes up to 15 degrees, a 15-degree grade. Based on that, I'd say it probably wouldn't do it. Yeah, hill climbing for me was not great. During testing, I would come into the short steep hill at 32 kilometers per hour and exit somewhere around 10. On the long steep hill with a 10% grade, if I didn't come in at full speed, I just wouldn't make it to the top. On the more gentle 5% slope though, the X7 Max performed just fine, only losing a bit of speed. For reference, I am 6 feet tall and weigh about 185 pounds, and during my testing I was wearing a backpack loaded with camera gear, which brought my total weight up closer to 200 pounds. My wife, who also did some testing, is 8 inches shorter than I am and weighs considerably less. On the flat though, the scooter has good acceleration and got up to speed quickly. The scooter has 3 different speed settings: Eco, Comfort, and Sport, but from the beginning I set it to Sport and never looked back. I like to go fast, so this made the most sense for me, but just know that you can limit the scooter speed to suit your riding preference. One handy feature of the X7 Max is cruise control. To activate it, hold down the throttle, maintaining a constant speed for about 6 seconds, and you'll hear a beep indicating you are in cruise control. At that point, you can release the throttle and the scooter will maintain speed. Hitting the brakes or adjusting the throttle will exit cruise control. Speaking of brakes, the scooter uses a dual braking system, which consists of a mechanical disc brake in the rear and an electronic brake in the front. Combined, these brakes can bring you to a standstill in about 16 feet, and I found the stopping power to be excellent. Now overall, I found the ride quality to be quite good and very stable. The scooter is comfortable to ride, it is zippy on flat terrain, and the 10-inch pneumatic tires offer a nice cushioned ride on smooth surfaces. I did try a little bit of off-roading on grass and dirt to see how the scooter handled the different terrain. Riding on grass was fine, but speed and power did take a hit as the scooter lost traction. Compacted dirt was a better surface, but you do get the feeling the scooter is not built to handle the off-road stuff and is better suited to smoother surfaces. So in the grass here, I've got it full throttle and I'm at 10 kilometers an hour. While many electric scooters have batteries embedded in the deck, the X7 Max's battery is located on the stem. The main advantage of that placement is ground clearance, which is a generous 5.3 inches. The extra clearance helps the scooter handle the bumps better and even makes popping off small curbs possible. The downside to having the battery on the stem is that the majority of the weight is in the front end. It's good for traction as it's a front wheel drive scooter, but it does make it a bit awkward to carry and more difficult to push it up a hill with uneven terrain. The foldable scooter is quite portable, which is great, but it's definitely not something you're going to want to carry for too long. With all the weight in the front, it's a bit unwieldy to carry, and 34 pounds isn't an easy weight to manage one-handed for long distances. Folding or unfolding the scooter is quick and easy. The only aspect of that I didn't like was how the stem attaches to the rear mudguard when folded. There's a hook on the stem and one on the mudguard, and they just kind of slide together. The problem is they don't lock, so if you don't carry it or move it quite right, it detaches easily. The deck on the X7 Max was perfect for my size 11 feet, and it has a nice grippy surface. Tucked underneath the deck is a small kickstand, which does work, but I found it to be cumbersome. The kickstand can be difficult to deploy, and on uneven ground, it was unreliable. Now, I can't speak to the scooter's durability because I've only had it for a couple of months, but it does seem well constructed with good materials. I had no issues with it during my testing, and it feels like it will hold up well under normal use. I do like that TurboAnt offers a wide selection of replacement parts on their website though, so you can keep your scooter going as parts wear out. Nowadays, there are plenty of ways to get around: personal vehicle, bike, walk, transit, what have you. An electric scooter though, I think is one of the most efficient and fun ways to move you and a little bit of stuff around with minimal fuss. It's the perfect vehicle for running errands, the first or last mile of a commute, or just for fun. The TurboAnt X7 Max is a stylish and capable electric scooter at a good price point. The regular price of this scooter is about 800 Canadian dollars, which is hundreds less than some of the competitors, and given its features, good value. On the upside, there is a lot to love about this scooter. The range, speed, styling, comfort, ride quality, braking and cruise control were all great. On the downside, my biggest concern is the lack of power on steeper hills. Of course though, this depends on the weight of the rider, so your experience may be different. For me personally though, if serious hills were a part of my daily commute, the X7 Max would not be a good choice. I would also like to see an improved kickstand, some kind of locking mechanism for when the scooter is folded, and if I'm being really picky, perhaps a smoother, more precise throttle. Other than that though, no complaints. If you're looking for a fun and capable electric scooter at a good price point, I think the TurboAnt X7 Max is definitely one to consider. And that's it for this one, guys. I hope you found this video helpful, and if you have any questions, please leave them in the comments below. And as always, thanks so much for watching, and yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Bye.